Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new TV show spoiler review here at Max Talks Movies. My name is Max Stenberg. Today, this is my spoiler review for season 3, episode 5 of the HBO show Euphoria. The episode is titled This Little Piggy. A lot of things to break down, a big cliffhanger ending. So, welcome back, everyone, to Max Talks Movies. Welcome to my channel. Before we get started, hit that thumbs up button down below. It takes 2 seconds out of your day. Help support my channel. It gets me to new viewers because, again, we are growing at a rapid rate over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So please keep subscribing and liking the videos. It truly means a lot to me. And as I said, as I always say in these spoiler reviews, this is a full spoiler breakdown. So if you've not checked out Sunday night's episode of Euphoria, go watch it. It's around an hour long. There's also some after credit stuff when they talk about the behind the scenes of how they made the episode. So go check that out. Then come back here and watch my spoiler review here of Euphoria season 3, episode 5. And I do think right now when I get to watching Euphoria, and again, this is someone who was coming in dying for this show. So pumped for the show. Honestly, it was my most anticipated show of 2026. Now it was a weird feeling turning on. It was the first time since turning on Euphoria back in season 3 where I wasn't pumped to watch an episode. I was kind of like, well, it's Sunday night. This is what I do. Let's watch the episode. It wasn't like, oh my God, what's going to happen tonight? Oh my goodness. It just wasn't that feeling. And this episode fit right in, I would say, with episodes 1 and 4. Very mixed bag. And I think that's what I really think is the general takeaway of these 5 episodes so far. There are moments, there are scenes, there are little performances, elements of these episodes that I'm like, wow, this really does feel like we're getting peak Euphoria. And then there's half of the other parts of the episode that aren't working for me, feel like they're in a different show, bit too over the top, and things that are just not working for me. And that sums up this episode. There were things in this episode I quite enjoyed. There were some funny moments. There was some drama. There was some intensity. There were some really good performances here. But there's also a bunch of other things going on story-wise and character decision-wise that were not for me. So again, would love to hear your thoughts in the comments if you agree with me. Again, I know some people out there didn't love season 2 of Euphoria, so for them, they're enjoying a different pace. I love the first 2 seasons pretty equally, so I do see this as a pretty serious drop off from those first 2 seasons of the show. Very big drop off, I would say, in quality. So this episode, the first 15 minutes or so, is an intro for Cassie, what she's doing on OnlyFans, her relationship with this guy named Brandon, I think is the guy's name, who he's trying to help out, get her to this house where she can stay, and it's really for him to screw her, but she thinks it's a TikTok or a social media opportunity. But we see what she really does on a day in, day out basis, what she does for OnlyFans. And again, I know some people are shocked again at the level of what Sydney Sweeney chooses to do, and I think some people are really stupid online who are like, "Oh my God, how is Sydney Sweeney allowing Sam Levinson to let this happen to her?" and all of these things. And I tell people all the time, Sam Levinson had a lot of power, I guess, when those first 2 seasons came out. Most of his cast, really, other than Zendaya, had no power. They were not established movie stars yet, so he could kind of do what he needed to do. Guys, Sydney Sweeney is one of the most famous people in the world. If she does not want to do something, she does not have to do it. So I know a lot of people out there are like Levinson's making her do all of this stuff and this and that. Again, she would be if she needs to do it, she'll do it. If she doesn't want to do it, she won't do it. That's kind of the power she has now. So really, since the end of season 2 of Euphoria, but we start to begin with her and Maddie's dynamic. I think we'll just talk about that part of the whole episode. So Cassie was going to leave Maddie in this episode because she finds out that not just is Maddie not like a lead manager for a big Hollywood company, she's someone's assistant who doesn't handle any careers. She just helps clean stuff around do whatever her boss needs her to do. And Cassie was shocked to learn about this, and she's like, "All right, cool, I'm out of here." She tries to confront Maddie about this. Um, I do think a missing piece here is really this Cassie and Maddie dynamic. I know as a viewer that they were best friends in those first two seasons of Euphoria. But they kind of reunite, and a lot of what's been happening with them has been off screen, building their brand together. You don't really see a lot of time with them working together, really, a little bit in this episode, but not enough. And Maddie was right when Cassie confronted her. She's like, have some balls. Like, if you're gonna say what you gotta say, just say it. And after Cassie says, I'm leaving you, sorry about that, Maddie does, fake call an agent saying, "Oh yeah, that audition for that movie, L.A. Nights, I think is what it was called. All right, she's not available now." Cassie then rescinds that going to the guy's house, and he's like, "I'm cool. I'm not breaking up with you." And Maddie says, "Okay, it's cool. But you got to sign this contract." Now, Cassie reads none of this contract, and the thing I was thinking about was this seems like Maddie could possibly use Cassie at all levels. Now. Maddie does tell Alamo later in the episode that she makes 15% off of what Cassie is making on OnlyFans. And also Cassie has to send half her money as well to, or at least 33,000 seems to be the number for Nate. Because again, Nate's in the dumps, he's not doing well, he's not making any money, and really the breadwinner for the family now has become Cassie at this point. But we get to see with Cassie and Nate talking on the phone. So I guess they did not break up. She pawned the wedding ring, but they are still married, still together. She puts herself down on contracts as Cassie Jacobs. And you can tell Nate's just trying to basically just using her to get more money now at this point. Like he's now like, oh, you're doing such great work. I want you to be even more sexual about some of these things. And you can tell Nate at this point is just so desperate for Cassie to get to the next level because Nate at this point, his work is not working out. So Maddie has actually was lying to Cassie. She did not have that audition lined up. So she went to Lexi to get the audition. Cassie does Shakespeare for this audition for a very minor role without a character name in this movie. Sydney Sweeney was really funny when she's like, "Of course, I'm Cleopatra." Like that stuff, the little thing she does is really great. Very funny. Sharon Stone's character was like, "Wow, this is actually like who would do Shakespeare for a role like this?" And she gets the role. The rest of course, are like, wow, Lexi, you look nothing like her, and all of these things. And again, Lexi is trusting and helping out the wrong people here, helping out Jules. She didn't come through in last week's episode, and now she's stuck trying to help Maddie and her sister out in this situation. Which, by the way, none of this benefits Lexi and her career. So again, and Lexi, another character, so underwritten in this season. Very disappointing the way at least they're taking her character so far. We do have 3 episodes left. But Cassie does get it. She has that conversation with Lexi at her apartment, saying, "Oh my God, I'm gonna be such a big movie star." Again, Cassie just wants to be famous, be widely known, very big deal, the talk of the town. Obviously, Lexi is not happy about this, so that's where we end things off with Cass. Let's finish off the Jacobs side of it. Nate in this episode is like celebrating every time he gets wired $33,000 from Cass. And the one time he completely like starts dancing and drinking. That same henchman comes down to his house, and Nate gets beat up again. His toe that he put back on his left toe is now taken off again, and then now 2 of his fingers or 3 of his fingers got pulled off as well. Nate has become an absolute wuss in this show. This is a guy who's a big dude, played football, can clearly beat people up in the first 2 seasons of the show. Now is a wimp, a loser, and they've gone the full 180 with his character, and it is not working for me. Elordi is a really good actor who I can tell is trying his best to get this character down now because this just doesn't feel like Nate Jacobs anymore. The smart, calculated, um, imposing person is now kind of a wimp here on this show. So again, Nate gets beat up again. I do think they're making it kind of obvious that Nate could be the character who maybe gets technically killed off on this show. Because maybe at some point Cassie's going to be unable to make money, and that means Nate is totally screwed. And that could lead to that guy killing Nate, maybe. Or they're making this the most obvious red herring where you're thinking Nate's going to die, and actually Nate's going to be okay. Who knows? We shall see. So Rue obviously steps up with, Alamo, saying obviously that Faye did it. She kind of knew everything, but Rue gets outed in this episode by Rosalia's character. who is Magic. That she put the cocaine in her locker and all this stuff. And now Alamo starts to not trust Rue at this point. Rue tries to help the FBI again, or the federal government, whatever it is, the cops, with trying to call Lori and Faye's boyfriend. And obviously, again, Rue is so obviously a rat at this point. The fact that she would even call them and try to talk to them with that behind Alamo's back is extremely obvious. But Rue's having, before this, also, Rue has a bit of a, I think one of my favorite scenes of the episode is the Rue Jules part of the episode. It's really Jules' only scene in the episode where Rue's chilling. And Jules keeps asking about her prior relationship. Rue obviously brings up the girl who she took to rehab. And Jules says, "How about you just try to kiss me?" And Rue says, "Why would I do that?" And Jules says, "Take what you want. If you want to kiss me, if you want me down, whatever you want to do, just do it." Um, I do think it's insinuated stuff was happening between Rue and Jules because when Jules and the guy finished their affair, let's just say, Rue's underpants were left in the apartment, and the guy obviously assumed that was a guy, so he's very worried about his public image and what this could lead to. So we'll see if Jules will allow Rue back in the apartment or anything like that, but that gets established. But towards the end of the episode, as I said, Rue meets up with Maddie at the diner. And they're having a very good conversation back and forth. And that is when you see Bishop, and you're like, oh God, here comes Alamo walking down to the table. And he sits down and he is very interested, obviously, in Maddie. And Rue is then taken off. Alamo says, you guys have to take a drive, like Marshawn Lynch's character in Bishop. And then we have this conversation between Maddie and Alamo. Now, I do say my least favorite part is I know Maddie is all about herself, money, all of those things, trying to make it herself. I totally respect that. But she does have a heart. And she did confess, obviously, to Alamo that she's as close as you can be as a friend to her as you can. So obviously, she sees herself as a very close friend to Rue. And when Alamo sits down and Rue looks panicked, scared, nervous, all of those things, Maddie just let it go and was like, oh, cool, I'm just gonna chill here and chill with him. I just didn't find that to be like a smart character choice. Like I know Maddie's very much about herself, getting a job, getting the money, all of those things. But she also does have and does care for her friends a lot and will do anything for her friends. And the fact that she sees her friend in that moment acting scared, petrified, all of those things, and just plays it off as nothing, I just didn't buy that at all. It was a big problem for me in the episode, just huge. Now, when we get to the Alamo Maddie discussion, I thought that was very good. Alamo learning about OnlyFans, how much money's on the table for him still. And Maddie and him make a deal that Maddie can use some of the strippers at his strip club. She will still make 15%, but gets more clients. So the money will go up. And then Alamo will also get 50% of the cut as well. So if that's 30% of the cut from the girls is OnlyFans going to Maddie and Alamo. Alamo and Maddie go to the strip club to his, and she, of course, picks out Kitty and Magic, and they're very much going to be in business. Now, I do think also this is going to lead to Cassie going to the strip club and being underneath Alamo as well. Because again, she didn't read the contract. Maddie probably owns her at this point with her likeness, whatever it is. I do think this will drag Cassie into all of this strip club business as well. But at the end of the episode, they drag Rue out to this dirt area, and she starts digging up to her neck, and she gets dug up to where her head is now only above ground. And Alamo comes running out with the whip, which is supposed to like decapitate her when he's on that horse, and it's a major cliffhanger. The promo, I usually don't watch the promos for next week's episodes because I just don't like they show a lot in those promos usually. I did watch to see would they even hint that Rue is alive in these promos, and Rue was not in the trailer for next week's episode. So they're kind of trying to make you think that she is dead. Now, there were reports out there. We've seen a lot of different variety of reports, so who knows what's right or wrong, that Zendaya didn't have time to film all the episodes. So there's definitely possibility that they keep this cliffhanger where you don't know she's dead for maybe an episode or two. Again, do I think they killed her off here? No. It was also finally reported this weekend that the season finale of Euphoria, which is on May 31st, is the longest season finale ever for an HBO show at an hour and 35 minutes. I would be really shocked if they have that long of an episode with no Zendaya involved. Would be really shocked. I totally get Zendaya maybe being killed off by the end of the series because even if Levinson and some of the cast want to continue with the show, based on like some breadcrumbs, it does not feel like Zendaya wants to continue on with Euphoria. Because again, she's not a producer on the show anymore. Doesn't seem like there's a great relationship with the cast themselves. I totally think she's at this point where I think she wants to move on and do other things. Um, After what the contentious way they made this season. So again, do I think Ruse could be dead at the end of the season? Yes. Even if there's a season four, I'm just not sure on the. And this is all speculation. I'm not reporting anything. Just speculation that I could see Zendaya being like, just kill me off by the end. And even if it's not the series finale, it could be the last time we see her on the show. Can totally see that being possible. But again, there are some moments that work for me. Again, Rue to me came off like an obvious rat where it made no like she's not even she's being so obvious. Like, why would she think calling Lori and that guy like a good idea? Makes it so obvious she's obviously a rat. She's been very weird around Aloe, just so obvious. The Nate storyline is not totally working for me. Jules had like maybe one full scene in the episode. She has been so underwritten, and I think Hunter Schafer deserves more than that. And Maud Apatow's Lexi is also a really underwritten character on this show. So again, I think Sydney Sweeney and Alexa Demi and Zendaya have been honestly the three strongest performances on the show this season. There are things that work for me in this episode. There are things that just don't work for me in this episode. And I like Maddie and Alamo together as a team, but also the way we got there didn't really make sense to me logically. So again, I'm a mixed bag. I wish I was here being passionate, loving the episode, feeling like we're in peak euphoria. I just don't think we're there. But that's my thoughts. What are your guys' thoughts? Let me know your spoiler thoughts down in the comments. I've had amazing commenters telling me they're like paragraphs of thoughts, and it truly means a lot to me that you guys want to share your opinion. I respond to every comment, so if you want to keep doing that, I'll keep responding. We can have a back and forth conversation on YouTube. Please follow me on socials, like the video. Please subscribe as well, guys. Get me to 500 subscribers very soon because we are under 50 subscribers away. It would truly mean the world to me to get to that big milestone. So please subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you guys in another video very soon.